what should I get?
Hey, Sean.
Oh, hi, Puan Sugi.
Hi, what's wrong?
I'm really stressed. I'm trying to figure out what to get for my little brother. His birthday is just around the corner. He's going to turn 17, so he's a teenager. So he'll probably like maybe something from the electronic store, or maybe a piece of a new outfit, or maybe even a sports equipment. I really can't decide what to get for him.
Okay, that's simple. What's his interest?
Oh, he's actually into gaming.
All right, maybe you should consider something from the electronic shop then?
Oh, yes, maybe, but there's still so much to choose. What do I do? Oh. Everyone, you are now watching Menengah Atas or Upper Form on DidikTV KPM together with me, Sean Steven, as your host. And of course, joining us today is Puan Sugi that will be leading the class today. How are you, Puan Sugi?
I'm doing great. How are you, Sean?
I am feeling wonderful and excited, and I know for a fact that it's not just the two of us. There are actually 4 pupils who are online right now that will be joining us for our class. Let's see who they are. Hi, everyone! There we go. 4 amazing pupils that will be joining us today. Could you kindly introduce them to those watching at home?
Definitely. Okay, we have Liao Izan. Say hi. Okay. We have Bhavan Prit. We have Eka Prit. And last but not least, we have Hugo.
All right. Is everyone ready for our class today? Give me a thumbs up if you are. There we go. All right. But first, what are we learning today?
Well, we will be learning about shopping therapy, and the topic today is shop till you drop. Do you like shopping, Sean?
I love shopping, especially when there's a good sale.
Great.
All right, so what exactly will we be learning throughout the day today?
All right, so today's theme and topic will be consumerism and financial awareness. And as for the topic, it will be the Unit 4 from the textbook, which is shopping therapy. And if you have your textbook with you, it is on page 52.
All right.
Okay. All right. So what is the learning standard for today? Well, we will be focusing on 2 skills, which is writing, 4.2.3, producing a plan or a draft and modify appropriately and independently. We will also focus on speaking, which is 2.4.1, explaining the main points of an idea or argument, Sean.
Okay.
We also have the learning objectives for today, which by the end of the lesson, pupils will be able to, number 1, writing, produce a plan of 4 paragraphs using a mind map based on the topic. Today's topic, Sean, is what is the one place where modern teenagers go shopping the most, and modify it based on peer feedback given. Right? As for the speaking component, you will have to explain the main points of 3 questions in an activity by providing appropriate justification for their responses.
All right.
Right? So that is what we're covering for today.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So it looks like everyone seems to know what's happening today. Can I get a thumbs up from everyone? Can you give me a thumbs up, please? All right. So far, so good. We can continue.
Okay. Thank you, Sean. All right. Now, I know all of us love to go shopping. What would you buy? Who shall we call, Sean?
Sorry?
Who shall we call to decide on what they're going to buy?
Maybe we can ask Eka.
Eka? Okay, here we have a picture, 3 pictures. So choose one picture, Eka, and tell us why you choose that picture.
I'll go for the hoodie because it's very comfortable to wear these days.
So she has chosen clothes, right? She has chosen clothes, which we can find over there.
This one,
right?
yeah.
The hoodie, and it comes with an accompaniment of a cap, a very nice looking cap. Okay, all right. Let's get one more person to choose.
Maybe we can ask Hugo.
All right, Hugo.
Hi. Personally, I would choose the badminton set because I'm a very active person.
Okay, he has chosen the sports equipment, right, which is the badminton set. Okay, and he says that he's very active. He's a very active badminton player.
All right.
Okay, very
and I think
nice.
before we even continue, let's take a short break and back to you for Upper Form on DidikTV KPM.
DidikTV KPM.
And we are back for Upper Form on DidikTV KPM together with me, Sean Stephen, and also Puan Sugi. Of course, it's English, and we're going to shop till we drop. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Sean. All right, now let's look at what we have here. We have an article, and based on our previous learning lesson, right? Students are supposed to know how to write an article. We teach them in Form 4.
Okay.
Okay. So today is we're going to talk about what attracts your attention when reading an article.
All right.
There must be something that makes you send out the message to your readers, right? Okay. Now, let's start with a pre-writing activity, right? How to make your article come alive, right? Not by words jumping out, but by, let's have someone read for us the tips that we can find here. Okay, would anyone like to volunteer? Anybody would like to volunteer to read this? Okay, Bhavan. Thank you very much, Bhavan. Can you please read for us?
Sure. Unlike essays, which have a more serious way of discussing ideas, articles can entertain as well as inform readers. Your tone of voice can be less formal, and you can get your readers' attention by talking to them in a more direct way. Use words like we and us to make readers feel included in what you're writing about. And try putting some of your ideas in the form of a question. For example, how would you feel if?
That's right. Thank you, Bhavan. Okay, so these are some important points that we must remember when writing an article. Okay, the whole idea of an article is to entertain. It's to inform. Therefore, your tone is required to be less formal. There's no need for you to write anything more in a more formal setting because this is an article usually being read by someone who is your age. Okay, so you can use words, inclusive words like we, us, to make your readers feel a part of your world. All right, and besides that, you can also put in your ideas in the form of a question. So there's no need for you to think about what you're going to say or make a sentence. Your sentence can be converted into a form of a question. All right? Okay, so now as we can see, here are some features of an opening paragraph. Now, what is an opening paragraph? An opening paragraph is the first thing that your readers will read about. Okay, and that is what makes them want to read further. All right, can someone please read for us what are the tips that we have to know before writing an opening paragraph? Right, would anybody like to volunteer? Anyone? Okay, Hugo, what are some features?
Entertain and inform. For the tone, it should be less formal. And usage of we and us. And also ideas in the form of questions.
That's right. So remember this, everyone. Thank you, Hugo. Remember this, everyone, that you must look into these tips before you write. Not only your opening paragraph, but all the other paragraphs that you're going to write for your article. Okay? All right. Now, let's go on to activity number 1, which can be found on page 52 of your textbook. Right. Let me start by reading the task. Now, read these two alternative opening paragraphs and tick the one you think would make most readers continue reading the article. The whole idea is to make it interesting so that people would want to continue reading the article. Okay, can I get someone to read me the first paragraph, please? Anybody? Volunteer, please? Who would like to read the first paragraph?
Maybe we can get Eka.
Eka, can you read for us the first one?
Can, teacher.
Thank you.
Many people spend too much money on new technology these days. They often change their mobile phones every year, for example, as new models are produced.
That's right. Thank you, Eka. As you can see, this is more in the form of sentences. Okay, let's look at the second one. Who would like to read the second one? Any volunteers? Who would like to read the second one? How about...
Okay, I think Bhavan is...
Bhavan looks very interested.
Yeah, I saw her finger raised just now.
All right, Bhavan, can you please read for us?
Sure. How often do you buy a new mobile phone? We all want to have the latest technology, but are we spending too much money on it?
Thank you, Bhavan. All right, so after reading these two opening paragraphs, now everyone at home as well, think about it. Which one do you think will make your reader want to read the article further? Okay, so let's look at Bhavan. Do you have an answer? Right, since you were the last to read, I'm going to call you. Which one do you think is more suitable?
I think the second paragraph is more suitable because the tone is less formal as well as the ideas are in the form of questions.
That's right, okay, and we have used the tips that we learned just now, Sean, right? So Bhavan has remembered that, and let's look at the sample answer. The sample answer says this is the correct one, okay? So paragraph number 2 indicates a better opening paragraph, all right? Very good. Okay, now we shall go on to activity number 2. We're still on page 52, okay, so there's no need for you to go anywhere else. Now, I shall read the task for you. Read this opening paragraph and use the language bank on the next page to help you rewrite it in a more interesting way for a teenage magazine. Now, it's very important that you remember who your audience members are. Your audience members are teenagers just like you. So, you have to use words or you have to plan your writing in a way that is interesting. So here the language bank has asked you to read this by asking the readers some questions. So in a way you are talking to your readers. Okay, so these are some of the phrases you can use. For example, I would like to get Hugo to read for me a few of these examples given in the language bank. Hugo.
Okay.
Thank
How
you.
often do you? Okay, then we got how much do you? And then do you? Could you? Would you? Can you imagine? Have you? Or do you ever? How would you feel if? Including the reader, you, your, we, our, and us.
That's right. Right? So this would indicate that all of you are in the same boat. All right? You are teenagers who enjoy doing teenage-related stuff. Okay? Okay, so familiarize yourself with the language bank before you actually go on. All right, now we have the paragraph, the activity 2. This is the actual activity that you have to do. All right, so let's get someone to read for us, please. Who is going to read for us? Who's going to read this paragraph for us? Maybe, okay, Izan has put up his hand. Thank you.
Teenagers are often told they spend too much money on brand name fashion. They often buy expensive trainers, for example, when cheaper ones are just as good.
That's right. Okay, thank you, Izan. Now you can see basically there are 2 sentences here. So a safe way to think would be, if you have 2 sentences in your opening paragraph, maybe you can think about having questions to modify your answer. So in this case, this activity wants us to write in a more interesting manner. So how do we go about doing that? Let's go back to Izan. Izan, in this, using this paragraph, how many questions do you think you can formulate from this paragraph itself?
I think there's 2 questions that we can write in the paragraph.
Okay, very good. All right, so let's look at the sample answer. Okay, as you can see, there are 2 question marks, so it would indicate 2 paragraphs that have been converted into question forms. All right, so everyone at home, we also look back at how the sentence was written. Teenagers are often told they spend too much money on brand name fashion. That has been converted to a question form. Eka, can you please read for us the question?
Sure. How often have we been told that we spend too much money on brand name fashion?
That's right. Very good. Thank you, Eka. And the second sentence here is, they often buy expensive trainers, for example, when cheaper ones are just as good. This has been converted to a question form. I would like to call Eka again, if you don't mind. Can you
Sure.
please read?
Would you replace your expensive shoes for cheaper ones that are just as good?
That's right. Thank you very much, Eka. So now you can see, everyone at home, you can see the difference between how is it when you write in a sentence form and how is it when you write in a question form. It sounds more interesting.
That's right. And going back to the points that you mentioned earlier as well, if I can recap, the 4 points. Obviously, number 1 is to entertain and inform. I think when it is very, if it's too informative or if it's too, too formal, so to say, people like teenagers who have maybe shorter attention span or the style of writing they would enjoy is definitely different as compared to people of our age or those who are older, correct?
Correct.
So even here what I notice is also the usage of the words we, you, us. So that actually gets the readers involved, because if I was comparing the 2 paragraphs or the 2 different articles which actually have the same points. They actually have the same points, it's just that you converted it somehow to make it more interesting. There's like a hook that wants me to just continue reading it, because I would read this article as compared to the other article that didn't have any questions.
Correct.
So just to recap on the 4 points that Puan Sugi has shared with us is, of course, entertain and inform, which I think this is way entertaining as compared to the previous article. The tone is less formal because of it turning into a question, right? It becomes less formal, less, I would say, less monotonous in a sense. And then there's also the usage of we and us, which I explained earlier, getting the reader involved. I'm so involved in this right now. And also ideas in the form of questions, which is definitely very attractive. Even I'm not a teenager, but I'm definitely interested to read the next sentence to this article. So right now, I guess we're going to take a short break, and we're going to be back to you for Menengah Atas or Upper Form on DidikTV KPM.
DidikTV KPM.
And we're back for Upper Form on DidikTV KPM, and the topic of our lesson today is shop till you drop. All right, over to you, Puan Sugi.
Thank you, Sean. All right, as you can see, we have activity 3, which is also on page 52. Now, before that, Sean, you mentioned just now you like shopping.
Oh, yes.
Right. So what do you like to buy when you go out?
Okay, I love shopping for clothes, but of course I take my time because I want to make sure that I spend my money wisely. I don't just simply go and I'll just buy everything. I usually wait for the sales, and of course it's very important for us to plan our spending, because you wouldn't want to just spend too much, and also considering the clothes I already have at home. So yes, definitely clothes.
Good idea, Sean. All right, I'm going to go right into activity number 3, everyone. Okay. let's get someone to read this for us. Who is going to read? Who's going to volunteer? Okay, great. Hugo, go ahead.
Articles wanted on the 21st century lifestyles. What is the one place where modern teenagers go shopping the most? Sport shops, clothes shops, or electronic shops? Tell us what kind of shop, what they want to buy, and why is it important to them. The best article will be published in next month's magazine.
Okay, thank you, Hugo. All right, everyone, like I said earlier, knowing what to do is very important. Therefore, reading the task, even if you have to read another time to understand the task, please do so. Therefore, you will be able to write better. Okay, so this is a writing activity. Okay, so we have a few things that we're supposed to look into before we actually do our writing. Right? Don't jump into writing. Always plan what you're going to write. Okay, now, Bhavan, can you tell me what are some of the points that we have here that we're supposed to look into? What are the important main points here, Bhavan?
The main points in this article is where are the places that modern teenagers go for shopping,
Okay.
whether it's a sport shop, clothes shop, or electronic shop, and also what kind of shops they want to go and what they want to buy, as well as why is it important for them.
That's right. Okay. So as you can see, we are supposed to write an article. Okay. So it's an article. Remember that. And remember that the points is what you have to focus on when you write. Okay. Don't focus on something else, because the marks that will be given for your article will be based on what you write on the points. Okay.
I see. Okay.
All right. Now, as you can see, like Bhavan mentioned just now, we have 4 main points, and this is how you're supposed to organize it on a piece of paper or even in your book. Just organize it by writing down the important questions that appeared in the question itself, the task itself. All right? It's always a good idea to write things down and plan what you're going to write. Okay, so therefore, I have decided to plan it in this way. We have questions 1, 2, 3, and 4 with the task in the middle. Okay? Now, before we go there, let's have, since there are 4 main points, Sean.
Okay.
So we will have 4 of them having to write something.
I see.
On
Okay.
each point.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe the first one I will assign to Hugo. Right. The second one will be Bhavan.
Okay.
The third one I'm going to give it to Eka. And the fourth one will be Izan. All right. Is that okay with you? 2 thumbs up if you're okay. All right. Fantastic. Okay. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time. And since this is a writing activity, I want you to take a piece of paper or your book and you're going to write what you're going to say. Because here the activity is we are planning a draft. We are not writing an article yet.
Okay.
We are just planning a draft.
Yes, and I think those of you who are watching at home as well can also give it a try. Maybe we can compare our answers once we have our pupils who are online. When they show their answers, then we can compare and see whether it's at least in the right direction.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. And don't worry, we will be there to help you to see what's going on. Okay, Hugo, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, Hugo, what have you written? Hugo is supposed to answer. Which question, Hugo? You're supposed to
Number
answer.
1.
All right, number 1. So, deciding between clothes shop, sports shop, electronic shop, which one are we going to choose? Okay, what did you choose?
Personally, I'll go for the clothes shop.
Clothes shop. Can you just a bit higher? All
Yeah,
right.
sure.
Right. You have written, I would go to the clothes shop, particularly in a big shopping mall. Okay, these kids live in Kuala Lumpur, so there's plenty of big shopping malls available here in Kuala Lumpur. All right, please remember everyone, those of you at home as well, it's very important to indicate your selection. Okay, right from the get-go, you're supposed to indicate where you have chosen or which shop you have chosen, because that is what your teachers want to read when they pick up your article. Okay, all right. So let's look at the sample. here, right? So here we have the sample of we like going to the, like what he has chosen, the clothes shop, right? So a clear indication of what you have chosen. All right, very good. Thank you, Hugo. Okay, now let's go to number 2, which was Bhavan, right? Okay,
Yes.
Bhavan, now you are going to tell us what kind of shop it's going to be. All right. Sean, would you like to read what she's written?
I'll try my very best. Okay, so here, I think that the kind of shops they would prefer are clothes shops. It is because a clothes shop sells the latest accessories such as shoes and jewelry that are currently trendy.
Very
Ooh.
good. Okay, as you can see, these are modern teenagers. So they want something that's trendy. I'm sure
Yes.
you guys at home would like something trendy as well. Okay, so here Bhavan has clearly indicated what kind of shop it is, what kind of clothes shop it is, what does it offer the buyer or the consumer. All right, okay, so now let's look at the sample answer. The sample answer given here is, we enjoy visiting the clothes shop in a shopping mall because we can find many brands of the latest and trendy, fashionable apparel and accessories. I always tell my students, whenever you get a word that you know there's another word for it, so try to use words instead of clothes. You can use like apparel. Okay, you can use the word apparel to replace the words clothes, so you don't sound monotonous and your vocabulary is also varied.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So let's go on to question number 3. That is from Eka. What do they want to buy? Okay, what do they want to buy, these teenagers, so these modern teenagers? Eka, can you please read for us?
Sure. Normally, girls would buy dresses and skirts, whereas boys buy t-shirts and shorts.
That's right. So Eka has decided to separate it. Okay, what would boys buy and what would girls buy? You can do that as well. Okay, to indicate the choices of different types of teenagers. Okay, so let's look at the sample. Okay, what would they buy? They would usually buy, if it's going to be a clothes shop, something designer fashion apparel or even clothing that is trending. Okay, popular forms of clothing. Okay, and let's go to the next, the last one. The last question is for Izan. Izan, why is it important to them?
It is important
Okay, Izan, you can read it first.
us more trendy and modern looking.
Okay, can you show us what you have written? Right, it is important for us because it makes us more trendy and modern looking. So guys at home as well, you can just write a draft, a simple draft of how you're going to go about answering these 4 questions.
Yeah.
And when you have to write your actual article, you will not be nervous at all because you've already planned what you're going to say. Okay, let's look at the sample answer for Izan's question. Right, the sample answer here would be, buying clothes are more important to us because modern teenagers like us enjoy being up to date in terms of fashion, the latest mobile gadgets and sportswear. So you can add this if you're talking about other shops that you have selected. Okay, now what do you do with all this information now that you have covered all 4 questions? Go back to your plan. Okay, go back to your plan. I purposely chose a tree, Sean. You know
Okay.
why? Why I chose a tree?
Because it's nice and pretty.
Okay. I chose a tree because it has the root, which is the question,
I see.
and then it branches out to the sub-question.
Yes, that
All
makes
right.
more sense.
So let's look at our plan. Right, you have already written on that piece of paper, so you can actually write it down like this. Before you actually start writing your article, plan your article. Okay, and of course there will be also need for you to modify depending on the situation. Maybe you might not like something,
Yeah.
right? So you might just take it out and replace it with something else. Okay, so this is how we write. It's always good to plan and remember reading the task, understanding the task and making a plan.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Now, since we have already written just now it's time for giving comments.
Okay.
Okay. And it's better for teenagers to get comments from their peers. Okay, so in this section, give a peer comment to your friend's work so that they can modify and make it better. Now, your friend has already written. Okay, can you just put up what you have written, everyone? Just put it up to the camera. This is what you have. Are you happy with it? If you're happy, put the thumbs up. Right, you're happy with what you have written? Great. Okay, but do you want to make it better? Of course we do. We always want to make things better, right, Sean?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so in order for us to make it better, we can get a peer to comment so that maybe we can modify a little bit and make it sound better. All right, it's always good to get someone to look at our work so that, you know.
Because, you know, if I were to put this in an analogy, for example, it's like, for example, what I'm wearing today, I'll probably ask my friend, or before I even purchase, example, since we're on the topic of shopping, right? You know, I'll ask a friend, do you think this pair of shoes is nice? So I think it's the same when it comes to this article, where we can ask our friend or our peer whether what we have written, is it suitable? Can it be modified? Can it be enhanced? So that we can get that perfect article.
Correct, exactly what I was thinking. Okay. Now, here, I'm going to get two of you to comment on the other two's work. All right. So, who wants to start first? Who would like to start? Okay, Hugo. Hugo, whose work are you going to comment on?
I'll comment on Izan's work.
Okay, Izan, can you do us a favor? Can you please put up what you wrote earlier? Okay, this is what he wrote earlier. It is important for us because it makes us more trendy and modern looking. Okay? Now, how would you modify this, Hugo?
Based on his answers, I will add a question at the end of his sentence. This will make the paragraph more interesting.
Okay, so Hugo says that he will add a question, isn't? He's asking you to add a question to make it sound more interesting. And we also remember, right, by adding questions, we make it more interactive, right, Sean?
That's true, yes.
Okay. All right. Izan, can you show us the new modified version of your answer?
I think he's still writing it out there.
Okay, now.
All right.
Right, let's have a look.
It is important for us because it makes us more trendy and modern looking. Who doesn't want to look good?
Okay,
wow.
can we have a look, Izan? How you've written it? Okay, he's a little bit shy.
Probably he was doing it too fast.
I guess so. All right, so he has modified his answer based on Hugo's comment and added the question, who doesn't like to look good?
Yeah.
So that is what you're going to ask your readers. Very good. Okay, how about the girls? Now, Eka, you are going to comment on Bhavan. All right, so let's look at Bhavan's work. Okay, Bhavan has written this earlier. We saw this just now. She mentioned about the clothes shop and that sells accessories, shoes and jewelry. Very good. Now, Eka, how are you going to modify this? What comment are you going to give Bhavan?
Based on her answer, I think I would like to comment, instead of using the word they, I think she should change it to we, so that she includes the readers as well.
I see. Okay, very good. Eka, thank you, Eka. Bhavan, did you catch that point? Yes?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, can we see your new modified answer? Fantastic. Okay, so now it sounds like, I think, can I have a look again, Bhavan? I think that the kind of shops we would prefer are clothes shops. Sean?
Yes.
All right, so we are all going shopping now.
Yes.
Okay, so great. All right, and it's wonderful that Eka has also remembered the feature of an opening paragraph for an article, which indicates that we must use we or us.
Yes, that's true.
Right, to include our readers. Fantastic. Okay, all right, so we have reached the end of our part, right, for the speaking.
Maybe we can get one more student or one more pupil to ask. I think earlier we had Eka asking Bhavan, right? Have we done that just yet? Yes?
Yes,
We
we
also
have.
had Hugo asking Izan. Maybe we can ask someone else to also give a comment to anyone else's article
Okay.
of how you can modify that.
Very good. Good idea. Let's have Ika. Ika, can you put up your question, please? Your answer, sorry. All right. Normally, girls would buy dresses and skirts, whereas boys, t-shirts and shorts. All right. How can we modify this? How can we modify this? Anyone has any idea? How we can modify it to make it sound a little bit more interesting? What can we do? Bhavan, would you like to try? Since Ika commented on you, maybe you can comment on her work now. What would you like to say? Ika, if you don't mind, can you just please put it up so that Bhavan can refer to it?
I think she should add a question at the end of her sentence.
Okay, for example, what kind of question?
Her sentence is normally girls would buy dresses and skirts, whereas boys would buy t-shirts and shorts. Maybe she can add a question like, isn't it true?
Okay, isn't it true? Right, because generally boys and girls would buy those skirts, dresses, t-shirts and shorts.
Yes.
Right, so going back to the readers.
That's right,
Alright.
making it a little bit more interesting as compared to the original article. And right now we're going to take a short break and back to you for Upper Form on DidikTV KPM.
DidikTV KPM.
You are now watching Menengah Atas or Upper Form on DidikTV KPM together with me, Sean Stephen, and also Puan Sugi for English Shop Till You Drop. Over to you.
Thank you, Sean. All right, guys, we have come to the point where it is almost at the end of the lesson. So every time we have a lesson, it's a good idea to recap what have I learned today. Okay, now today we have learned the features of an opening paragraph. If you remember correctly, Sean, I
Yep.
gave 4 features of an opening paragraph. Okay,
Yes.
the things that you're supposed to remember when you want to write an opening paragraph. And lucky thing, we have 4 awesome people here today. All right. Let's start with Hugo. Hugo, can you remember one point or feature of an opening paragraph that you remember?
Our tone, it should be less formal.
Very good. Okay, the tone should be less formal. Try to keep it friendly. Try to keep it not very formal, and also something that would include your reader as if your reader is your friend or someone that you know. Okay, how about you, Eka? What feature do you remember when writing an opening paragraph?
Usage of us and we.
That's right. Okay, you have to remember. Thank you, Eka. You have to remember that you are a teenager and the reader is also a teenager. So what you need to do is use the word we, use the word us. Okay, so that the reader doesn't feel like you're not talking to him or you're not including him in your writing when you're making your sentences and forming your questions and so on. Okay, let's call Izan. Izan, what is another feature of an opening paragraph?
Entertain and inform.
Okay, it must be something that is entertaining and you have to inform your readers of something or piece of information or a message maybe, right? So it must be entertaining. Like Izan mentioned just now in his writing, he said, who doesn't like to look good, right? So it must be something that really makes you think and makes you maybe laugh or maybe just chuckle a little bit, all right? So very good. And the last one, Bhavan, what is the last feature that I taught you today?
The ideas must be in the form of questions.
That's right, okay. The ideas must be in the form of question. Do you know why, Sean? Why does it have to be in the form of a question?
I would say to make it more interesting rather
right.
than just reading facts. So it's
Correct.
a different way of communicating the message to the reader.
That's right, and Sean is listening. He's a very good student. Okay, so in this case, we want your writing to be lively. We want it to jump out of the page in some sense of the word, all right? So we want it to be interesting enough so that the reader will read the next paragraph, all right? Okay, now let's look at what you have said just now, and 4 out of 4, you got it all right. Clap for yourself.
Yeah,
Okay.
well done.
2 thumbs up for yourself as well. This is exactly what I mentioned earlier in the lesson, all right? And they have got it all right. Okay, so they're actually listening, so fantastic. Good for you. Okay, now, I spoke about writing a plan for our article. Okay, you had 4 questions you needed to talk about, right, or elaborate, right? Whenever you have a question or whenever you have a task, read the task and understand what is it that you're going to do. Okay, so in this case, you had to choose between a sports shop, a clothes shop and an electronic shop. And today we had decided to be a little bit fashionable, a little bit trendy. We went for the clothes shop. Now, if you had chosen the sports shop, what are some of the items that can be found in a sports shop, right? It can be, what can we find there, Eka? What can we find in a sports shop?
You can get badminton racket or running shoes.
That's right. Okay. Anything to do with health and fitness. Am I right? Okay. Now, the second part of the question is, or the task was to tell us what kind of shop it is. What does it sell? Okay. The clothes shop, in this case, it would be having to do the latest trendy, fashionable apparel. And if it is in an electronic shop, it would be something that would sell a lot of gadgets and telecommunication equipment. Right. Izan, what is your favorite gadget that you always use?
Smartphone.
Your smartphone. Okay. None of us can live without our smartphone. Am I right, Sean?
That's very true.
Okay. Right. Now, the next point is, what do they want to buy? Okay. So, if you're going to an electronic shop, you would buy gadgets. Give examples of the gadgets that you're going to buy. Bhavan, can you read for me what I can buy at an electronic shop?
Sure. You can buy some gadgets and telecommunication equipment such as handphone, tablets, laptops, and others.
That's right. Okay. And before this, we were having online classes. This was such in a rage because people used to look for these items to be used during your online classes, right? Okay. And the last question that I focused on today was, why is it important to them? Why do teenagers want to buy all these things? What is it for? All right. Modern teenagers, what do they want? Hugo, if you don't mind, can you read for us, please?
Yeah. So they buy these electronics to get updated about what's happening in the all around the world.
That's right, okay. Besides that, they also want to be up to date in terms of fashion, mobile gadgets and also sports apparel. We all want to be up to date. Am I right, Sean?
Yes, yes. And
That's
also
right.
when you mentioned about electronical devices, having a device that's more up to date will have more of its features. For example, if you were to use a mobile phone that doesn't have internet, for example, you wouldn't be able to attend your classes if your classes were online. So something like that, I would say.
Exactly, Sean. Right, so we have come to the end of our lesson.
That's right.
All
And
right.
just before we end, could we also get like your rating or how well did our pupils online, how well did they do today?
I would give them 5 stars, for sure.
5 stars to each and every one of them.
That's right.
A round of applause. Well done, everyone. And yes, because they have done so well as well. And also for those of you who are watching at home, if let's say our audience who are watching at home, if they want to get extra exercises, or if they want to enhance their understanding, from where can they get it from?
They can visit this very, very useful, awesome portal called Sumberku. Okay, and just go there, open up the portal and you will find various types of exercises that will really interest you. And if you don't know, definitely the first thing you should do is get in touch with your teachers in school. Okay, now that you're back in school, you can always get in touch with your teachers and refer to the portal Sumberku.
All right. Thank you so much, Puan Sugi, for your sharing today and of course for your lesson today. And of course, thank you to our pupils who are online and those of you watching right now. Hopefully it's beneficial to you and we'll see you in our next class. Till then, bye-bye.